Gail.
Hey, hi, how are you, Michael?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Okie dokie.
Oh, good. A little disheveled. Here's everybody. I don't think Bert's joining us tonight.
SNES photo. Look at that, Isaac. Woohoo.
Gail wants to know the back.
Background, Isaac. The yellow submarine is
Oh,
background. What is that?
no, it's Dune.
Ah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so how you guys doing?
Doing
that was
well.
off by a generation only.
Hmm. Yeah, no. No, I mean Dune was contemporary with the Beatles.
Oh, the
Probably
book. Yeah,
yeah, the book, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what that yeah.
Hi, Nate.
Hello. How are
Nate has a
you?
different kind of background.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
it's blurry in here.
You
I
got on
can't
the
blur
porch
mine
with your
anymore.
grumpy cat banner.
I had to retreat to this like office space. There's a lot of activity out there, so it's an open office plan. Okay.
Cool.
I used to be able to blur my background, but with this new iteration of Zoom, I can't do it anymore.
Really?
Really, unless I just don't know how yet. I haven't put a lot of time into it, I must say.
Oh, my, it's there. It seemed easy.
You
There's
just did
three
it.
little dots in the upper right-hand corner of my um, window.
I just do it on video. If you click on the caret, it gives you a blur of my background option.
Well, I'll work on it.
Okay.
Not now.
So why don't I call us to order at 5:03? And I was telling Gail I'm a little disheveled, so I didn't get all my ducks in a row. So I forget who's taking minutes tonight.
It is I.
Hey, thank you. Love it. And I don't think Bert's going to join us. He emailed me to find out what next month's meeting is. So my hunch is that that's what he's going to do. But Gail, do you know him?
No,
Oh, I got the impression you might. Does
nope.
anyone know him? Hmm, okay. Well, we
New
might.
face, good energy. All right.
Yeah, that would be cool. So he seems on top of it. So that's sort of a good thing. Um, so I'll open it up to public comment. And per our tradition, no public comment. Um, so I think this tonight's like just a lot of updates. I mean, I think there's stuff going on, but it's mostly in the update category. Um, the things that I didn't articulate clearly in the agenda, but definitely fall under updates are the climate leadership stuff. And then Gail, if you wanted, since we don't have a massively full agenda, we can discuss the website resources thing if you wanted to
Okay.
discuss that briefly. But who knows? Could be a short meeting. Um, so Nate, where are we at with CCA? Any developments?
So there's not much to report, unfortunately. So Colonial Power Group's attorney is in dialogue with DPU, I think, to determine exactly which aggregation plan template we should use. So there's the original template, there's the new template aggregation plan that DPU is like circulating. And I guess there's some ambiguity around um, which one to use. So Colonial apologizes for the delay, but that's the kind of the state um, of the aggregation, the CCA process. So, I mean, there are really good things about the fact that this is a dynamic process, an evolving process, but it is also like raising, questions as we're in this liminal space. So hopefully soon we'll get that clarification, and then, um, as I've been suggesting, I think there will be, um, I think this will happen quickly once that ball finally crests the ridge there.
But I think if it ends up with a streamlined process and a clear process, it's well worth the wait at this point, because that'll make everything go faster once we get in there.
Much faster.
Yeah.
I had a question there. I forgot what it was. Are there particular elements they're trying to clarify, or is that not worth getting into? We don't need to understand. They just have to pick, and then they'll just tell us which one.
I think it's the latter. There may be, but I don't actually have insight.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's reasonable. Well, just to make you feel better, like wearing my planning board hat, the state did this whole big housing bill, and so we were looking at accessory dwelling units and how to deal with housing stuff. Had at least one really robust conversation. Then our town council said, put the brakes on, because as we look at the statute, there's lots of confusing, non-clear things that, like, we don't know how municipalities what we should do. And she talked to the AG, and the AG said, you're right, there's lots of lack of clarity. We have to give you guidance before you can do anything. So there's like, you pass the law, and then everyone has to pick up the pieces and figure out, like, this is like, unfortunately, normal.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you for staying on top of it. Can't wait to find out which template we use. I'm gonna exciting.
Wait a minute. Excuse me.
Yeah.
But is there going to be a template for everybody, or are there going to be multiple templates for case by case?
It will be, as I understand it, a template.
Okay.
A template. Yeah.
Yeah. Good.
I would assume we'd want to get the new one, but I guess we'll just wait to hear what the lawyers think. So, okie doke. It sounds like CCA norm, unfortunately, a different flavor of CCA norm. So, Isaac, what have you been doing with EV chargers? Any updates?
You're muted.
Yeah, I sent an email about an hour ago, maybe a half hour ago. Life and work has been really crazy, so I just managed to email all of the parties that were involved in like the 7 townships that were provided as contacts. So I just started hearing back. I got one request for a Zoom meeting because I don't think anybody really wants to type anything out. So I'll have to have, I'll type out all the notes in the conversation, and I'll get any updates to you guys next month. So apologies for that.
Okay, life happens.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going. Oh, the one thing I'll say, which is related, I can't remember, but there was a meeting Nate and I considered going to about MassDOT having their EV charger rollout presentation. Joe Comerford had sent out an email saying there's a meeting in Greenfield. Fortunately, at the last minute, Nate did a little research and decided not to go, and it also dissuaded me to go once I looked at the information. But it's worth just sharing here in terms of the context. So the state has this master plan to build out EV infrastructure. And so they're doing it, they have a term for it, but it's basically major routes of travel. So if you think about Route 2, you think about 91, the Pike, major arteries. I'm guessing maybe Route 7 or something in the Berkshires, but major arteries, whether they're highways or state highways, interstates or state highways. So it didn't make sense for us to go because clearly we're not on one. And 202 is not part of it. But it's interesting that they're pushing that out. And I think the first implementation is actually going to be um, in Western Mass. I forget where it was. Go for it.
Can I just share the map?
Yeah, please.
Cool.
Hey, can you make it a little bigger, or is that too complicated because of the? There you go. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so the initiative is super duper cool. But there's like it makes perfect sense when you think about it. The state is going to be supporting these rapid chargers, but only within maybe it's like a 1 mile buffer in these priority corridors, right? So um, as you can see, maybe not in Shutesbury, but
Oh, not a road town.
Yeah.
not in Road Town.
Centrally isolated.
Yeah.
We used to say about Ithaca.
Yeah.
Really? I never heard that when I was in Ithaca, but it's true.
My uncle, like my wife's uncle, he owns a little appliance repair shop in a small town in Western Pennsylvania, and his in his motto, it's located in the same inconvenient place.
That's great. I like
That's
that.
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that map actually is really helpful in terms of putting our discussions about EV charging in context.
Yeah.
That, it's for people traveling through, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do about 202, but you can, on Route 2, there'll be stuff. So,
I'm looking at the numbers though, the numbers that are being reported from the company that we're looking at, and it's like, let me just pull it up. It's so Bard was, well, let's see, they didn't say for that, but Bellingham submitted eight charger applications to Eversource. The Greylock, Williamstown, Lanesboro area submitted 6. Lee submitted 2. West Stockbridge submitted 12. Windsor
really,
submitted 7, and Worthington submitted 2. And these are all the towns that I had contacts for and I reached out to.
Wow.
But I mean, and it sounded like with my conversation, in my conversation with Mr. McGrath, um, he was saying that it's really limited by the grant from Ever or National Grid. Um, so they need to approve it. They need to have an approvable location, which means there needs to be some sort of energy bill, like, or some sort of some sort of meter situation there. And if not, it needs to be in a meterable area. Um, but yeah, I mean, it seems like, I mean, based on the interaction that I have with him, and I'll find out from all these other people if they tried to apply for more and then were just granted to, but or just granted a specific number. But it seems like, it's up to, there's no limit except what they will approve, and it doesn't seem like they have a number that says we're limiting it to 1 per town or 2 per town. It's just whatever seems like viable options until the money runs out, I guess. So maybe West Stockbridge will grab 12, and then that'll preclude Boston from getting, like a bunch. So
that would be interesting.
yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any sort of um any sort of value assessment or application, like, you know, does there, it doesn't seem that does your town need 12 is a question that's being asked.
Yeah.
I doubt that there's a census of e-vehicles that you need to provide information on the number of electric vehicles that are in your town or anything like that. So at
And
least that hasn't been.
proximity to major highways,
Yeah, probably.
I should think. I mean, they'd want to know where they're going to be most efficient, most well used.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Worthington sounds like it's more in line with us since they're small and
Yeah.
they're asking for 2. Like that
Yeah.
seems
Yeah.
appropriate.
I mean, Lee is asking for 2. It seems, it's like half and half. Like you got towns that are asking for 2, like 2 that are asking for 2, and then 3 that are asking for like 6, 7, 8. And then West Stockbridge, which is asking for 12. I don't know if that's next
That's
to a,
crazy.
yeah, that sounds crazy to
No,
me too. Now, whether they'll
Lee,
get approved for all 12, I'd be interested to hear from Joe Roy Jr. In the
yeah,
Parks and Recreation Department about that. So,
yeah. I mean, I can imagine Lee asking for more because they're right off of the pike, but
yeah, I mean, how
West
do you
Stockbridge,
like? It doesn't seem like there's any justification required for the number of ports you're asking for, So anyway,
I do think based on the research that the visitors to the, oh crap, who's the painter for West Stockbridge? I'm having a brain flip. You know, the, Gail, you would know, All-American artist, front page of the magazine.
I know
Oh,
who you're talking about.
is it Norman Rockwell?
yes,
Is,
Yeah.
yeah,
that's it. So the research for all the people going to the Norman Rockwell Museum in West Stockbridge,
that's
high
right.
EV ownership.
I see.
There you go. There you go.
The
Yeah,
neat
that's it.
12, it's
Yeah.
clear.
There's got to be a commercial payout at the other end for some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 10 chargers at the at the museum and 2 out the rest of the town.
I was just looking at the U.S. Energy Information Administration profile for this for Massachusetts. It's something that that's an organization that we looked into like after our first couple of meetings as a committee to get that sort of baseline for where we are in order to like figure out like where we're going. And they have this piece of information I thought was interesting for electric vehicle charging locations. It says there are like over 3,200 in the state, and as a share of the United States electric vehicle charging locations, that's about 5% of the country's EV chargers. I thought that was interesting, and I can circulate this website because it's like it's worth looking at. Um, Specifically, I was interested in like how clean electric generation really is in Massachusetts right now, since we like it's something like 2/3 or 3/4 of our electricity is generated by natural gas. And I was wondering if that had changed since the committee got fired up. But I haven't finished that. But it's a super interesting website if you're just interested in like what's happening in Massachusetts and along some of these measures. So
I think that's the same one that ranked towns by the number of EV vehicles. I'm remembering that statistic that's on our website that, Shutesbury is right up there.
I would think nationally there's a correlation between, distances between destinations and EV chargers, like, just given what is it, there's a range anxiety,
Yeah.
so like, I mean, if you're in Montana, there's probably less likelihood that you're going to casually get an EV if you have to travel 100 miles regularly, where, New England's a hell of a lot easier to sort of get from one destination to another. So, and,
Well, I got a quick question for the committee. So, I mean, if I hear back from people that they want to Zoom, would you prefer me to take all the Zooms kind of remotely and take notes, or because I got this email back from um the woman from Worthington, and she was saying she'd be happy to meet with our group in a Zoom call so we can add her to the next meeting just as a one-off, or I can just amalgamate all the information prior and we can do it that way. Just let me know how you guys want to proceed. Happy to do either.
I think my sense is if you did them all and
Yeah,
sort
that's
of
what
figured out.
that's what I was thinking, but like literally her verbiage, I'm glad to answer as best I can. If you want to schedule a Zoom call with your ECAC, I'd be glad to do that. So I'll just let her know. I'm just gonna compile this information and it'll just be the 2 of us and I'll pass it along. So,
Yeah.
but
There'll be consistent questions and along the way then with all the vendors, which is all the towns, which is good.
Yeah, cool.
And it might make sense down the road, like if we're gonna jump into something, if there's a town that seems like Worthington might have a similar experience, and we might want to understand that, but we won't know until we sort of have these preliminary
Compile.
rounds.
Yeah.
Cool. Someone's joining us.
Joseph's iPad.
Yeah. Hello. Joseph's iPad.
Speak.
How you
to-
doing?
Good.
Salvador, by the way.
Ah,
Yeah, you joined us a couple of meetings ago, right?
yep.
Yeah, I did, because I'm trying to follow up on the installation, at the time you were talking about installation, but I've been pretty busy since then.
Yeah. We haven't picked it up yet. We're not going to talk about it tonight hardly at all, but welcome to hang around. And
Thanks.
and, so I think we're good in terms of chargers, right? We can move to the next thing.
Yeah.
So in terms of climate leadership, I sent you guys an email yesterday, I think it was. I ended up getting connected to the woman who's in charge of green communities. And it's sort of a chain of events, but in my initial correspondence, I had said we're waiting till July to apply for the decarbonization roadmap grant, because we had to sort of get the other things ticked off. And then she wrote back, as it says in the email thread, you don't have to do that. So I thought, one, we're sharing it, and two, just to check in. I mean, I think our plan still makes sense. The two things, though, I'm just going to share the application that I just sent a little while ago. But can you guys see this okay?
Yep.
So this document, it's a weird document. It's I'm not sure what a PON is. I forgot what to look, but it includes at the bottom the actual application. So there's an application for doing this, and a checklist and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that I wanted to just highlight, because it's worth mentioning. So this is eligibility if you're going to apply for the assistant grant. So the first part's straightforward, applicant information. And then they talk about eligibility. So we have to have the letter from the select board. We have to have documentation that we exist as ECAC. And then this is the thing I wanted to highlight, which is they say you have to have this permit information, and then immediately underneath it say it's not necessary to provide it, which is like really sort of silly. But it seemed like at some point we might have this, and so I thought before it gets too late, we could just like have a brief check-in about like how we would gather this. And Gail, I'm sort of looking to you because you've been the closest to this in terms of like
I
talking
bet
to
you some of that's on Insight.
Well, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
If it's reported out already or if the building committee might know, but like I said, apparently we don't need to provide it, at least not immediately, but we might need to have it at some point. So I don't think it's precludes us from wanting to proceed with the application,
Okay.
but do you have any, looking at this, does anything jump out as like troublesome?
You want me to go ahead and see if we can find any or all of this stuff?
Yeah, that would be cool.
Does the
Um,
fact that we have those points on the ATM warrant count as intention?
Oh, yeah, so she got back to me. I think it was in the email, but maybe not. But she said basically the fact that we're planning to move ahead with those other four aspects, the net zero and the stretch code, et cetera, are sufficient proof of commitment, which was not how I understood it initially. So this gets to the second part about the timing. So what Chris Mason wrote back to me was,
Right.
we were welcome to apply for this first round, which was, coming up soon. But he said he's expecting that there'll be more communities applying than there'll be slots to get funded. And that they're gonna basically fund or communities that are further along and have done more stuff. So it seemed to me that we're not ready to jump right now. And because we want to have the community session, we want to have town meeting, and that coming out of town meeting, we'll have documented that we have the 4 requirements that are additionally needed. The town will have approved them. So we'll be in better standing in terms of the application. And I'm not sure when town meeting is, but say it's April, May, the next round is July. So that'll give us, a couple months to work on any of these kind of specific questions that we need to address. But that was my thinking. That as long as it's teed up and we're willing to sort of proceed, I don't think we need to hurry up and apply and then get rejected because we're not as strong a candidate as some other communities. But what do you all think?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, how you interpreted um Chris's message, because the way I read it, it seems like there's no harm in applying now. It wouldn't put us in a worse position come July. And if applying this month and winning assistance would put us in a better position um, than we would have been, then it might recommend just putting our hat in the ring and seeing what happens. But that's how the way I read Chris's message was, why not give it a shot?
Yeah. Well, I think that's probably true where he was coming from. I mean, my thought was the 2 things. One is when I saw that, I went to the application, which is why I pulled up that other stuff. Because like, oh,
Mhm.
so if we're gonna do the application, what's it take to do the application? And some of it's really easy. It's just, I'll share it again, but like we can do the grid part, that's pretty straightforward. Eligibility, there's nothing to be done. These are check marks.
Mhm.
And then you gotta, let's see. There's not much there. The only thing that was really sort of work was those building specs.
Mhm.
And so on the one hand, it's pretty easy if we really don't have to provide that data. Like
Right.
but the other part of it was, yeah, there's an expectation that we get this stuff done within a year. And my thought was, like, if we're gonna spend the time trying to move things forward for town meeting, it seems more orderly to say, okay, if the clock for a year starts in July, we have more time, because otherwise you're doing all 5 things at the same time. I agree with you. I don't think applying now penalizes us. Like, we don't get any bad marks for it. It starts the clock ticking in terms of our commitment to do something. And I don't feel ready to start, because the decarbonization roadmap is actually like work. Like, we have to get the consultants, and then we have to deal with the scope of work, and then they're gonna have a whole bunch of questions and all that stuff. So that was sort of my thinking of, like, if we're in November and we're gonna in 5 months have town meeting approve all the other stuff, um, why hurry up and get this done? I don't know. What do you all think?
I mean, July is 8 months from now. I think this committee moves very slowly, and I would like to see some climate action. That's my opinion.
Anyone else? I'm just gonna look
And
at.
that would give some ammunition or at least some support for the things we present at ATM. That we're actually moving on it. We're not just sitting back and asking the town to sign off on those pieces.
I think it can go either way. Because, I mean, people will say, why are you doing this roadmap if we didn't approve this other stuff first? Because one could, I mean, I don't know how much people would push
That's
back,
not gonna
but
get asked at town meeting, though, I don't think.
yeah, it's, and,
And when they talk about the buildings and the area,
Yeah.
talking about, are there 5 municipal buildings? Is that what we're talking about?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And I'm just looking, I think the first date of deadline, because it's soon. Hold on one sec. I'm not sharing it, right? I'm not getting you guys nauseous. Yeah, it's November 29th, so that's where are we at? Today's the 19th, so 10 days from now. So I think the tricky part, I mean, the reality is also, Nate, that we could do it if they're doing it in March as well. So it's November, March, July, November, because we have to get the select board to sign off on it, which means we have to present to the select board. So I can imagine getting on their dance card in the next, month or so, to do it, but the next 10 days doesn't seem practical, to get the moving parts, but we can shoot for, I mean, if we can shoot for March and just do it all sort of at the same time. I'm not sure what the turnaround is, but, that's another alternative.
Ribbon select board write-off, that seems more realistic. But I
Say
agree
again?
with Nate that waiting to July is just too long.
Okay. So you want to shoot for March as because I can. I mean, I emailed with Rita about something, and she said clearly with Becky leaving, there's a lot going on, and they're sort of stepping in, so they're a little maxed out. So I'm hard pressed to think that they can do it anytime soon. I'm not sure what the.
What would they be signing off on, though? Let me back up a minute before I.
Oh, they just have to. They're applying for the grant. They're the body that does it. So. Here,
So
hold
if we
on.
have the info needed to fill that form, and the insight info is not required,
Yeah, hold on one sec. So what they need is one, so it's a letter of commitment from the executive officer, which is the select board in this case. So we could write a letter, saying we're committed to doing it, but they have
and
to meet.
the select board's not gonna want anything more than that. I mean, that's,
No.
Yeah.
I agree. It's mostly like you have to sort of get it to them and then they have to agree to do it and then they sign it. So
well, there are what, 2 meetings between now and the 29th?
there's one tonight.
And there's one the 19th?
I don't know.
That's tonight.
Yeah.
There's
And
one
then
the
after,
24th, Tuesday, the 24th. 20, whatever the Tuesday is,
okay.
before Thanksgiving.
I don't think it's the 24th because I got a meeting on the 25th and that's on
26th?
Monday. Yeah.
26th. Going, once, twice. 26th.
Oh. Well, I mean, I could, I don't know. It feels rushed to me. I mean, I could try to do it if it's a matter of me doing it. I don't know if anyone else wants to jump and do it. There we go. There we go. I mean, the letter is one thing. We exist, so we just have to, I don't know how you prove that we exist, but that's easy enough. There's this stuff that we don't have to provide.
The charge voted by the select board.
Yeah, that makes sense. Can we get the number 4? That's probably just available on Mass Insight.
Yep, that's Mass Energy Insight. Yep.
Yeah. And I think in terms of this, I think we'd be going for B. I don't know about the desktop analysis. I think we want on-site facility condition assessment, would be my guess. Um,
Should we look at page 3? Because it looks like both are defined there. Roadmap development of on-site
Yeah,
facility
yeah.
versus, yeah.
And then these things, we would check off the first one, but the other, and the second one, but the other three, we wouldn't have the net zero or the carbon stuff with the opt-in code. So we do 2 of the 5.
But we could
This-
attach a statement that those are in the warrant for town meeting.
Well, they're not yet. They're planned for. We haven't submitted anything to select board yet.
Okay.
And then this just gets signed off by whoever's Rita or Melissa who wants to do it as the chair of the select board,
Mhm.
or I guess Gabe could do it for the select board. So in that regard, let's see, I'm walking through this a little more deeper. So, yeah, I mean, it's just getting some stuff together. So it's not hard. It's select board was sort of the big thing. I could try to get this together, and I can reach out to Gabe and see about getting on the 26th select board meeting, to get them to sign off on it. I won't be around the 27th, 28th, or 29th, so someone else would have to submit. So Thanksgiving is the 28th, so it's like I don't think anyone's going to be in the office to receive it on the 29th, personally, but still has to get in there. So,
Is this an online submission?
yeah. I mean, that's my gut is like, it feels like March would be more breathing time than sort of doing this in the next 10 days. I don't think it really, we can get a consultant, we can start the process, but it seems like a lot.
Well, if we shot for 10 days and missed, we would have more work done towards the March
That's true.
deadline, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true. Okay, well, I will. Gail, can you pull, now that I sent that through, can you pull down the Mass Energy Insight information for us?
Yeah, I'll try that. Yeah.
Okay.
For sure, that one
Right.
report, and then I'll see if I can get any of that other in that ABCD list.
Okay. And I'll ask the select board to get on the agenda for the 26th.
Is it helpful to, since it's like several pieces of documentation, to use like a Google Drive to organize it, or and then is there anything I can do to contribute?
Yeah, well, let's see. So here, I'll just reshare again.
Well, we have
So
Google Drive. We could make a folder specifically for these documents.
yeah, I mean, we could definitely do that. I mean,
Okay.
I mean, I could do it either in Shutesbury Google Drive, or we could do it for ECAC, either way, but just make it public. But with the checklist, we just have I'm not sure what they mean by the electronic files, but it's all the stuff above. The grant application, that's pretty straightforward. The signed certification thing, so that we couldn't get that done until Wednesday. So that's sort of the tricky part, because if it gets signed at the select board meeting, get it made into a PDF, you could make it that night, but it depends on people's schedules.
Yep.
And then supporting documentation, I'm guessing it's the Mass Energy Insight stuff. So yeah, we can create a Google Doc for it. Does anyone have the wherewithal, if everything is in the Google Doc on the 27th, which is Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I think we could send it off. Because all it is going to just green communities at mass.gov. So once it's in there, it's really easy enough to just send it off.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not traveling, so
Okay,
I think I'll have some bandwidth.
cool. Okay, so why don't I create the Google Drive, and we can throw stuff in there as need be. The select board's meeting hybrid, so if they met in person, we can actually get a signature right then and then make a PDF that night and throw it in. So
Yep.
that's doable. Okay, well,
And I can send stuff to you as I find it, Nate, and you can put in the folder.
Sure,
yeah, or you can just
absolutely.
upload it. You can do it directly, either way, whatever works. Cool. Okay. Not what I was planning, but we'll go for it. Um, glad I brought it up the question. So the last thing we got is the web resources stuff that we got, that email. And I haven't had a chance since getting the email this morning to sort of look at the place she was talking about. But she wanted us to list the website that she's associated with on the resources
Yeah. I went to the
page.
website. It's basically what educational opportunities are available if you're interested in education. So where can you get a master's in sustainability? Where can you get a undergraduate certification for blah, blah, blah. So it's very helpful that way.
Yeah, I
There's
think
not a profit motive. I mean, this is not a company that's looking for business. So, I mean, otherwise that would not even be applicable for our website, right?
yeah. Well, I think the question I have is sort of like, what's the screen like? Is anything that touches energy and climate get posted, or like you sort of want to figure out what's in and what's out before you start letting people in, because then it gets awkward after the fact. So that was sort of, and we could have the conversation now a little bit, or we can do it next month. But I thought it seemed like what we've done so far in terms of resources is what's helpful to residents in terms of their needing to know about climate stuff. Um, it seems like this is one step.
Part of what they offer, I believe, if I read it correctly, is helping folks determine what they're eligible for on the various rebate programs. I'll go back and check that for sure, but
Yeah.
who do you
So,
think would send us a cavalcade of wishes for?
I don't think there'll be a huge demand. It's mostly being able to, like, I remember when I was on school committee, people would want to come in, include stuff in the Road Town News. I mean, whatever the school newsletter was, can we put a flyer in? And we had to come up with a policy about what's in and what's out and and even some things that are profit, so you could have someone living in town who is making groovy clothes, organic, locally sewn, you know, locally raised cotton. But it's for profit. So you don't want to rule out all for profit if you wanted to support community businesses. So, and then there's, different kinds of nonprofits, good ones and not so good ones. What do you do about religious groups? So it's like we had this big, wide ranging conversation where it's a lot of gray. And so my thought was, although I don't expect there's going to be a lot of people knocking on our door, because, why would they? It's mostly get from the the committee saying, why do we think, why do we want to put stuff on the website? So, my starting point would be, we want to make it helpful for residents who care about these issues. And then it's sort of like, what fits into that bucket? And we could have one-offs. It could just be that every time someone gives us a request, we have a conversation, but that could get tedious.
Looking at the website, it looks like 95% of the content is about, um, educational opportunities in energy, like, like sustainability, that kind of stuff. So there's a proportion of it that's different types of degrees, online degrees, specialties within those degrees, and then within the states. Then there's research for energy students, like energy certifications you could get, energy degree accreditation, energy internships, energy majors at different colleges. The only website that's kind of just an informational smorgasbord is this one thing that is energy organizations and resources. So it has links to big energy organizations, DOE initiatives, energy data and research. So it's an energy news, renewable energy resources like clean renewable energy organizations, renewable energy sources, um, sources for specific energy fields. So it's just like a clearinghouse for 90% of it is like if you wanted to get a higher ed degree that dealt with sustainability and energy resource management and renewable energy. So is that something that is a resource that we want to put on the website? I don't know, like if you're talking about like based on your assessment of what kind of resources should be on the website, it doesn't sound like this is one, save like the one page with all of the different, informational things just in, about, energy resources, renewable energy resources, et cetera. But everything else is about what kind of degree you could get to support your education in this field, which seems seemingly for like, professional development or like to get a job in that field kind of situation.
Yeah, I don't think it's bad. It's, like it's not, there's nothing bad about it. It's mostly, is it appropriate and necessary for us to
Different
do?
question.
Exactly.
Dave, Gail, you have any ideas, thoughts?
I think that what you just mentioned as the list is the list of stuff that we already have posted, the resources. So I think it comes down to the education and is that appropriate? Or do we want to make it appropriate?
Yeah, and I mean, we could look at the list of all the resources and see if there's any resources on the page that they have that we might want
That we
to
don't have.
integrate into our page. Exactly.
I think a Python script scraped information from the web and populated a database that put this email together. And there are like 20,000 of these that have been, sprayed across the United States from Washington, D.C. And I think it's a super great um, set of resources. I'm just trying to imagine somebody coming to our website and then deciding that that's the moment that they're going to have a career in climate action, and then you know before they go to like Google or DuckDuckGo, for that information. That's all. So
Quite well
I
taken.
I would quickly like, not, you know, it's great stuff, but the internet's full of
Yeah,
great stuff.
Yeah,
agreed.
that seems more global than local.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that we like their stuff. We don't think it's necessarily a good fit for the Shutesbury ECAC
There you
webpage. And
go.
I can
Right.
convey that.
Decline, yeah.
Okay, cool. That was a worthwhile conversation.
Think global, act local.
Yeah, love it. So any other stuff that we haven't talked about that we want to share before we adjourn? Joseph, do you have anything you want to chime in? Oh, Nate, go ahead.
Um, I wanted to ask Isaac, do you want to review the minutes?
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
please,
So
I
yes.
recirculated the
I did. I sent it out like
The
maybe
day after the meeting. Yeah, it was great.
right,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's
I
very quick.
just recently sent it out to the ECAC site.
You did?
With yeah, I just did, and I don't know if it's going through, but I can show you that I sent the updated minutes at 5:32 because I just integrated some because Nate sent some stuff earlier today, and I want to integrate that with the other changes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, here we are.
Yeah, so it's there
Yep.
with the edits from all parties submitted, and they were very helpful and thoughtful.
And you're
So,
telling us they're all here.
They are all there.
All
Every
right.
single one was incorporated. None were ignored.
okay. Do we want to take a moment to look at it, or are we okay with moving ahead to vote on it?
I'm just spotting one typo under the CCA section, that third paragraph, and it's Michael. It's just
Yeah,
this fine.
I thought I fixed that one in the. Let me go to sent.
Oh, yeah.
Just
The first word of the third paragraph. I'm missing an A.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, you know what? That was confusing because there was a correction and there was like correction on both sides, and it looked like it was somebody else's name that I didn't know who it was,
Okay.
so I just adapted it.
I
But
just
I
made
will.
that change and I'll use this copy to submit
Okay,
to the town
excellent.
clerk. How's that?
Sounds
Nate,
great.
thank you for having my back. So why don't we, someone want to move to approve the minutes of October 17th, 2024?
I would like to move to approve the minutes of that meeting.
Second.
Cool. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Gail, how do you vote?
Yes, aye.
Nate,
Uh,
Isaac, was that an aye?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and I'm an aye. So the minutes are approved. Nate, thank you for doing, Isaac, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Great minutes.
Can
Yeah,
I ask who seconded the because I'm doing the
Gail.
minutes right now.
Gail.
Gail did. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
yeah. So, and I don't know why, I always forget to do the minutes. It's really bad. Anything else we haven't talked about that we want to sneak in on this meeting before we adjourn? We'll figure out another next date.
Yeah.
And Joseph, anything that you wanted to contribute before we adjourn?
Oh, keep up the good work. I might have to change my career listening to some of these things I got. But I haven't figured out which one yet, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
We got
I'm
a
glad
whole
we
set
discussed
here.
that. What a good resource that is. Cool. So let's see. So in terms of next meetings,
It'll be December.
yeah. So I'm guessing it's got to be the 10th to the 17th.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone has references.
10th or the 17th work.
Yep, either one.
17th is slightly better
Hmm.
for me because Anna's got regional school committee on the 10th.
Okay.
Okay, well, that decides it then. So we'll do the 17th at 5 to 6:30 like
Our
we
usual time?
usually would. Yep. And Gail, you're up for minute taking, correct?
Correct.
Okay, love it. So by
December
then,
17th.
we will have made a really good effort to submit the climate decarbonization plan program. Maybe we'll find out more information about CCA. Maybe we'll learn more. Well, we probably will learn some more information about chargers. And I don't think there's anything else on the horizon, but if something comes up, shoot me an email and we'll add it to the agenda. But anyone want to move to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Anyone want a second? Okay. Hearing no further discussion. Nate, how do you vote?
Aye.
Isaac,
Aye.
Gail,
Aye.
and I'm an aye. Thank you all. And I will make that Google Drive and share it out with you guys so we have that in place.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
See
Appreciate
you at the
that.
select
Thank
board
you.
meeting.
See ya.